Not too long ago, around 2015, there was a massive shift in politics. A push from both sides of the aisle, right and left, to rid themselves of the seemingly never-ending system of leaders where changes were never actually made and promises never fulfilled, also coined the Uniparty. Policy positions from the likes of political leaders such as Barack Obama, George Bush, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, and others were things of the past. It was time for new leadership from those who were younger, more in tune with the newer generations, and a hell of a lot more tech-savvy. Mark Levin, Steve Bannon, Megyn Kelly, and other neocons of the old right were replaced with podcasters, streamers, and content creators. Social media was encapsulated by a refreshed brand of conservatives like Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Tommy Lauren, Tim Pool, the Hodge twins, and Dan Bongino. While the overall stances of the right weren't drastically altered, one thing was certainly true. They knew how to appeal to a much younger demographic, one that would eventually become the future leaders of our nation. On the left, classic liberal media personalities such as Rachel Maddow, Stephen Colbert, and The View, while still relevant, just weren't nearly as appealing as the newly formed progressive wing headed by an incoming wave of democratic socialists like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We now have The Jimmy Dore Show, Kyle Kulinski, Ezra Klein, David Pakman, and Brian Tyler Cohen. Even the beloved Daily Show with Jon Stewart had a newer and younger host. The left took a much steeper dive into reformatting. In fact, the entire Democratic Party was in for a rude awakening. Meanwhile, the new right led the country towards the election of Donald Trump, whose first term was one wild ride for the American people. 10 years later, and now the tides have turned once more. Although in recent years it has been the right which have made the most drastic changes. Long gone are the neoliberals and neocons of both parties, at least mostly. Now we have new emerging party leadership. Social media influencers and streamers such as Zach Hoyt, also known as Asmongold, recently deceased Charlie Kirk, and Nick Fuentes lead the charge against white replacement, woke culture, and leftist elites online, while newly elected congressional and senatorial members such as Marjorie Taylor Greene and Josh Hawley work in step with the also recently elected far-right White House ran by Donald Trump once more on new policies to shape the nation. Even 2A lovers and gun tubers like recently retired Demolition Ranch, Colleen Noir, Garand Thumb, Warrior Poet Society, and Texas congressional runner Brandon Herrera have made a huge impact in protecting our second most important constitutional rights, while bolstering support for the right-wing and libertarian movements. The left has picked up steam as well, with recently elected self-claimed socialist mayor of New York City Zohran Mamdani, and growing support for online personalities such as Twitch streamer Hassan Piker. Even once small coalitions, such as the Democratic Socialists of America, have grown to a nearly staggering 100,000 in membership. The new right is associated with strongly conservative Christian values, nationalism, and free market capitalism, promoting individualism and limited government intervention. In contrast, the new left is characterized by its focus on social justice, anti-imperialism, and environmentalism, advocating for progressive policies and challenging traditional power structures. While both movements seek to address societal issues, they have extremely opposing views on how to achieve their goals, leading to ideological clashes and debates on the role of government in society for the entire world to see. Members of the New Left often advocate for policies that promote diversity, inclusivity, and environmental sustainability. They are critical of capitalism and believe in the redistribution of wealth to address income inequality. On the other hand, the New Right is known for its emphasis on traditional values, individualism, and free market principles. Supporters of the New Right prioritize personal responsibility, limited government intervention, and the protection of national identity and sovereignty. When it comes to economic policies, the New Left tends to favor government intervention in the economy to address social inequalities and promote economic justice. They support policies such as progressive taxation, a higher minimum wage, and increased regulation of corporations. In contrast, the New Right advocates for free market principles and limited government involvement in the economy. They believe in reducing taxes, deregulating industries, and promoting entrepreneurship and innovation through market competition. On social issues, the New Left is known for its progressive stance on issues such as LGBTQ rights, gender equality, and racial justice. Members of the New Left often advocate for policies that promote diversity and inclusivity, such as affirmative action and anti-discrimination laws. In contrast, the New Right tends to hold more conservative views on social issues, supporting traditional family values, religious freedom, and stricter immigration policies. They're often critical of identity politics and political correctness. When it comes to foreign policy, the New Left tends to prioritize diplomacy, international cooperation, and human rights. They are often critical of military intervention and advocate for peaceful resolutions to conflicts. The New Left also tends to support policies that address global issues such as climate change and poverty. On the other hand, the New Right emphasizes national sovereignty, military strength, and a more assertive foreign policy. Supporters of the New Right prioritize national security and may be more willing to use military force to protect their country's interests. Both the New Left and New Right have gained popularity in recent years, attracting a growing number of supporters who are disillusioned with the mainstream political parties. The New Left has been influential in shaping public discourse on issues such as income inequality, social justice, and climate change. They have also been successful in mobilizing grassroots movements and organizing protests and demonstrations. The New Right, on the other hand, has gained traction by appealing to voters who are dissatisfied with the status quo and seeking a more conservative alternative. In conclusion, the New Left and New Right are two distinct political movements with contrasting beliefs and values, a gap wider than America has seen in over a century. While the New Left focuses on social justice, equality, and progressive ideals, the New Right emphasizes traditional values, individualism, and free markets. While I personally fear that we are headed towards the same path as all nations in decline, I think it's important to understand the attributes of the New Left and New Right in order to engage in informed discussions and debates about the future of our society, and attempt to find a way to settle our differences while working together to keep the nation from completely collapsing. Because honestly, these types of discussions are needed more than ever.